everyone for joining us today for session 2 of the Restaurant Marketing Basics for the Digital Age. This is part of a series of 3 webinars that are being provided as a part of the Backing Historic Small Restaurants grant program that American Express and the National Trust for Historic Preservation have put together. And we are very happy to have you here today for the second session, where we are going to be talking about ways for establishing your online presence, or if you already have an online presence, on ways to improve that online presence. So just to give you a little bit of an overview from our initial content. So the program objective for the 3 webinars is to provide restaurant owners and managers with an overview for drafting a marketing plan that is actionable and that has the tactics and the insights that can be helpful so that you can reach and communicate with selected target markets, especially taking advantage of digital channels. Just to do a little bit of a recap from our first session, and if you were not able to join us for the live first session, or if you have not had time yet, we have recorded the session, and we can provide the link of the recording for you after this session, as well as with the recording for the current session, so that you can have them there as a resource of information for you. So on the first session, we were talking about the importance of knowing our customers. Before you can even start sitting down to craft a marketing plan and to start planning the tactics and the different channels and platforms that you want to use, you need to really know who your customer is, who is the person that you are trying to attract to your restaurant, so that you can create content that is going to be attractive for that specific type of customer, and so that you can use it in the platforms where that customer is already in. Especially with the online, you might have different you might be attracting different market segments depending on the platform that you are using online. So you would definitely want to know who your customer is. You want to know what motivates them, and we were discussing in the previous session about all the different motivations that people have for visiting your restaurant. It could be something as a motivation of convenience, because you are located in a location that is between 2 places that the customer travels to and from. It could be the convenience of being able to pick something up for pickup or ordering delivery, so that the person does not have to prepare food at home. It could be an opportunity to engage with coworkers or to close a business deal. It could be for status, because they want to be seen in a restaurant that has a certain type of reputation. It could be because of nostalgia, because the flavors of the restaurant evoke to a certain moment in time or remind them of a meal prepared by somebody. So there are many different motivation factors, and you need to identify, based on what you offer and based on the needs and preferences of your customer target, how those motivations come into the equation. And then afterwards, you need to also know what your unique selling proposition is. You might see this references also in other training as unique value proposition, which is, what does your restaurant provide that is different, that is better, that is more attractive than your competitors? What is that element, that uniqueness that you can offer that will make your restaurant stand out from the competitors? And once you have all that information, once you know your customers, what motivates them, and what do you have unique that can attract those customers better than anybody else, then you can sit down and write a marketing plan. And we were talking about the importance of having that marketing plan in writing, so that you can go back and reference to it. This could be something jotted down in a piece of paper. This could be something that you type out on a Word document. But it's really valuable to have your plan written down, because you can go back to it and you can update it, or you can use it as a reference during the execution of your marketing plan, and obviously as a learning lesson for future marketing plans. In this session, we are going to be talking about why an online presence is really just no longer something that we would recommend for our restaurant's marketing strategy, but something that has to be a needed part of that strategy. You can no longer see as digital as just something that you could include in your plan. It's now something that you must include in your plan. So we are going to be talking about the different ways that you can harness the power of the internet and everything that has to do with digital for the marketing effort of your restaurant. And then at the same time, whether you are adding new work online to your marketing plan, or whether you have existing websites and social media accounts and pages and different things, you need to make sure that that effort that you are doing online, the way that it looks, the way that it sounds, it's coordinated and it's consistent with the message that you have in other more traditional channels, including your menu, including signage, including a point of place, or any other sort of a marketing in advertising that you would do outside of online. The learning outcome for today's session is to learn how to create or to improve your restaurant's digital presence. And this will include the importance of a website and having your own space, your own home online. How can you help potential guests find you online, and the power that online reviews have? Online reviews are the new word of mouth. And even before, and there is a statistic that a lot of old marketing books would cite, that when people would communicate about their experience visiting a restaurant or any other business, traditionally they would communicate that to 5 or 7 friends or family members. Now, people are communicating their experiences in your restaurant in real time, online, and the message has an exponential reach on the amount of people can reach it. So there is definitely a way that you can take advantage of that. And that is going to be my introduction to our guest speaker today. Today we have with us Emily Washkovic. She's the Senior Marketing Manager for Yelp, and she will lead us on the portion of today's webinar that has to do with how to get your online presence and to make sure that you're harnessing that enormous power that you can have with online reviews. So Emily, to you.
Thanks so much, Gustavo, and I'm really excited to be here. We love partnering with you and getting education in front of your members. For those of you who I haven't met before at one of these events, my name's Emily, and I've been with Yelp since 2014. It's my job to educate business owners on the free tools available to make the most of their site. And so today I'm going to go through about 10 minutes of slides, giving you all of the important elements to setting up your free page on Yelp, as well as responding to reviews. So I'm not going to talk at all about any paid product. I'm really just talking about leveraging and logging into your account to use all of the tools that are at your access. And honestly, in your industry, maybe you are not the person who's doing this. Maybe you're handing it off to a manager or another employee, or maybe you have a hostess, for example, that's great at online. This could be something that is delegated within your business. I think that just depends on your skill set and the support that you have. So I want to provide my email. If you have questions after today, or if someone you hand this off to has questions, they can reach out to me. If I'm not the right person to answer them, I will certainly connect them to someone at the company. I have a good chunk of slides here. There's going to be a lot of detail on some of them that you might want to reference back to, but I'm going to rifle through some of them pretty quickly to give you those basics to have the most complete profile. So please don't feel like you need to viciously scribble this down. Gustavo will send you the slides, and you can also follow up with me directly if you want to talk deeper about any of these topics. On the next slide, I show what the homepage looks like to claim your free account. In order to do that, you're going to go to business.yelp.com. And we also have a business owner's app. which is the next slide. So whether you're on a desktop or on your mobile device, you can log in and claim that free profile. You can fill out information and you can engage with and respond to your customers. So do whichever platform is more comfortable for you. However, I would recommend when you're setting up or confirming that your profile is complete, use a desktop, laptop, or tablet if you have the opportunity, because it'll just be a little bit easier for that initial setup. On the next slide, I show the app and a little bit of what you can do there, but I think the app's most powerful tool is helping you as a restaurateur after setup. So you're probably not at a computer very often in your role. And so having that mobile app is a great way to turn on notifications for when you get reviews, be able to answer things on the go, or even upload images that maybe are stored on your phone. I think a lot of us nowadays have a lot of our business images on our phone as opposed to saved to some drive somewhere. So if that's an easier method for you, that's a great way to use the mobile app. The next slide is going to show us just a quick high-level statistic about how important your business information is on Yelp. We know that business pages with complete profiles just simply get more visibility. So for you, what you'll want to do is log in. On the next slide, you'll see what that looks like when you're logged in. And you're going to go first to the basic information tab. This is where you want to verify your name, your address, phone number, and website are all accurate and correct. When it comes to categories on Yelp, you can be in up to 3. So a great example I like to give is, let's say you're at an Italian restaurant that has, sit-down tables, that serves a certain demographic of customer. But you also have a bar with TVs where you play sports games. You would also want to be listed under sports bar. Those are 2 entirely different diners or guests, but if you can serve both of them in your business, you want to be able to be found by both of those people. So keep that in mind when you set your categories on Yelp, that if you do serve multiple types of clients or various offerings in your restaurant, you have those included. The next slide's going to show you the hours section. This is so critical because a lot of users search for open now or open at a specific time. So I really, really encourage you to set your hours on your profile. And on Yelp, you can do temporarily closed, permanently closed, or special hours for as far in the future as you'd like. So if you know every year that you're closed 4th of July, Thanksgiving, Christmas, you can go in and set that in advance so that the week of your profile accurately displays your special hours, as we call them. The next slide is probably one of the most impactful areas for you to complete when we talk about a complete profile. And this is your specialties history and meet the owner or manager section. Now, this section is essentially your elevator pitch. If you could tell someone what your restaurant offers and what sets you apart from other places in a few sentences, what would you say? And you might have already done the legwork to think of this description for your website, for example. So you don't need to overthink it. You can go grab that information and plug it in here. It's important to know that the keywords and phrases you include here help you appear in search. So what do I mean by that? If I go to Yelp and search for Mexican food and my boyfriend searches for fish tacos, we're going to see relatively similar results for businesses, but the search for fish tacos is going to prioritize pages where the reviews or the profile or the photo captions mentioned fish tacos. So think about what your fish taco is and be sure to incorporate that in your profile. The next slide is going to transition us into the importance of photos. This statistic on here is just a good reminder that at a bare minimum, you want to upload 10 photos. Businesses can upload unlimited, so I just set that as a minimum bar that you want to reach. The next slide shows us what it looks like to upload photos. And again, you could do this from desktop or from your mobile phone. Now, when you add those photos, it's important to add captions as well. Those keywords and phrases in your captions help you appear in search results. I've seen business owners upload tons of photos of menu items and plates, but no photos of their business at all. Make sure you diversify a little bit with the types of images you're showing. On the next slide, it'll transition us into reviews. I'm just going to spend a few minutes here to wrap us up. But again, if you have further questions about this, please feel free to reach out to me. I can send you resources, information, or chat directly. The important thing about reviews, whether it's on Yelp or other platforms, is engagement. At a bare minimum, about half of your customers expect to receive a response when they write something for you online. So by not having a plan for responding, you're letting down about half of your customers automatically. That's the true importance of responding to the reviews, is just showing not only that reviewer, but also other potential customers that you care about feedback and you engage with it. The next slide gives us a quick statistic here, because a lot of business owners tell me, Emily, I don't want to engage with Yelp or my Google reviews or TripAdvisor because they're all negative. It's just people being negative Nancy's. Well, on Yelp, nearly 80% of our reviews are positive, and we have more 5-star reviews than 1, 2, and 3 combined. So you really don't want to miss this opportunity just by fearing the critical or the negative. The next slide really is a reminder to you of what quality information you can glean from reviews. So on that slide, it breaks down trends, things that you could see from a pricing perspective, a service perspective. Gustavo, can you go to the next one? Yeah, perfect. You can see information about facilities, amenities. So use reviews, both positive and negative, to identify themes or trends, to see what you're doing well, and to see where maybe you could make some adjustments. The next slide shows some stats that are really just high level and a way to motivate you to respond. But the psychology behind these numbers makes a lot of sense. Essentially, what it's saying is when businesses respond to reviews, they have a higher star rating and a higher quantity of reviews overall. And that's true because they see businesses paying attention to it, and they're more likely to share their experience. These next 2 slides are going to be a great reference point for you to come back to when it relates to how to respond to reviews. I think sometimes people get held up at the fact that they don't know what to say. So first, let's talk about critical. We can break critical into 3 buckets. Legitimate, we all have to acknowledge we make mistakes. In the restaurant industry, you're dealing with a lot of employees, and every single employee is just one more opportunity for human error. So sometimes we just have to own up to things that have happened and acknowledge them and thank the reviewer for their feedback. Inaccuracies do happen. I would say it's appropriate to correct them when it impacts future clients. So the most important takeaway about responding to critical reviews is not to respond to get into a back and forth with the reviewer, but simply to respond to reflect who you are as a business and what your customer service practices are. So keep it short and sweet, and then take the conversation offline. I put rant and rave on here because some of us will easily identify, and a lot of consumers will as well, when someone is giving feedback that is just not helpful or not realistic. And you can actually click on the user's name on Yelp and see a full breakdown of every review they've written. If they skew negative, maybe it's best to not respond to those. But truth be told, I still think a short and sweet public response is a good move. The next slide gives examples for positive reviews. And truthfully, when it comes to positive reviews, all you want to remember is when you respond, customize it slightly by acknowledging or reiterating something they shared. If you're dealing with too many reviews and you don't have the time to write a custom sentence or 2, then use the direct message function so you don't look canned and repetitive on your account. The next slide gives an example of how you want to share positive reviews, whether it's on your website or on social media. It's a great way to remind your customers who already love you and know you to share their experiences as well. So whether it's a Yelp, Google, TripAdvisor, or any other review, think about spreading that across multiple platforms. These last 2 slides here I had to throw in as the Delta variant is kicking up and impacting all of us. I wanted to remind you that on Yelp, we have our COVID banner. This is an area where you can write the most important few sentences of information to your consumers. You can modify it and change it daily if you'd like, but I recommend using it to put the most important information. Are you only doing takeout? Are you open for dining? Do you have outdoor seating? Whatever is the most critical information, use the COVID banner to include that, because it's the most prominent place that we're going to put information on your Yelp page. The last slide is just all about health and safety measures. When you log into your account and click on the health and safety tab, it'll walk you through all of the questions where you can indicate what you and your team are or aren't doing in relation to COVID. So that's important stuff to fill out, because some users are searching specifically for businesses that are doing some of these things. With that, Gustavo, I'll hand it back to you. And please, again, anyone on the line or listening to this recording, feel free to reach out to me if you need further assistance or have specific questions that we can answer.
Thank you very much, Emily, for your insights. Definitely very, very valuable. And, it ties in perfectly with the strategy of having that online presence where you are, harnessing the power of reviews and also being able to interact with customers directly. So tying into what Emily was mentioning, you are going to have platforms with online reviews that you can take advantage of. You are going to have platforms with social media content that you can use as well. And you can have other platforms that are, for example, directories of businesses from a specific location, or if you cater to visitors from out of town, maybe it's going to be valuable to be incorporated in the platform for the travel and hospitality for your city. So you have a lot of different platforms, whether it's online reviews, social media, directories, etc., that you can use, but that should not limit the importance for you having your own website. And we want to really emphasize that having your own website gives you control of your voice online. When you are on social media, if your restaurant has a page in one of the social media platforms, you are using somebody else's online platform. You don't own the platform, so you don't have really control as to whether that social media platform will be functioning in 1 year down the road, 6 months down the road. You have no control whether there is going to be modifications to the algorithm into how guests are going to interact with your page or search on it and everything. So it's very important that you complement all of those platforms that you can use online with having your own platform, your own digital home. What are some key elements? And obviously we could do a whole webinar just on website design and website basics, but some key elements to keep in mind for designing your website or for updating your website is that you want to make sure that the information on your website is relevant, that it's information that would be useful to a diner, to somebody looking for a restaurant, and that the information is going to be up to date. In the same way that you want to make sure that your Yelp review has accurate information as to which days are you closing, what are your operating hours, what are your procedures for health and safety in place. You want to make sure as well that on your website, all of that information is up to date. If you're going to include your menu on your website, you need to decide if you are going to include the menu with the pricing, that every time that there is a change in your pricing, that you're also updating that information on your website. Contact information, email, telephones, everything else, always need to make sure that it's up to date. Your website is also a very important marketing channel in the way that you can use it visually. So you want to make sure that you can use good photos. You want to use photos that represent your restaurant, that represent the theme, that represent the mood in your restaurant, that showcase and highlight your food and your drinks, so you can really take advantage of having this in a very visual way. And you also need to make sure that your website is optimized for viewing in mobile devices. a lot of people now are doing their research on their mobile phones. So you want to make sure that the website experience of somebody looking at your content online is going to be valuable and positive, whether they are connected on a computer or whether they are connected on a smartphone. So you need to always keep that in mind, but it's very important to have a website with this information. And you are going to see that in a lot of the review sites, in a lot of the search engines, and in a lot of the social platforms, they will be asking for your website as part of the confirmation of, identifying your business. So it's definitely something that complements every other effort that you do online. A couple of tools that we have available for you and that are also free to use when it comes to your online presence. Main Street Online is a new tool that is powered by GoDaddy, and that will help you build, grow, and boost that presence that your restaurant has online. I haven't included here the link, and after the webinar, the live session of the webinar is done, we will also share the slide deck so that you can have the links and the email addresses for it. So in this link, you will fill out a form that has a series of questions, and that will ask you for what are some of the current website assets and other online assets that you have. You will answer a couple of other questions on how you manage those online assets, and then the tool will give you customized recommendations of things that you can do to improve your existing presence online. You could get recommendations on point of sale systems or some alternative website platforms that you can consider for your hosting or for the templates of your design, software that can help you in creating content to share online, so other things. So it's definitely a very useful tool that we have here available for you, and it's free to use. Once you have done that initial evaluation of your website and your other online assets, and you want to really dig deeper and get the most out of it, then this is another tool that is called Empower, and it's also by GoDaddy. That is a training experience online with training modules, tools, and a network of peers, independent small business owners that can help you accelerate that journey of you learning more about using all of the resources that are available online. So this is also the sign up here. A very interesting thing that the Empower by GoDaddy tool offers is that you can connect for free business coaching. So you can connect with somebody that you can discuss, different aspects or specifics about your restaurant or your operation, and then you can get that feedback. So that is also always very valuable. So we've mentioned that it's very important for us to have a website. You want to make sure, if you haven't done so already, that you are going to go on Yelp and you are going to claim your business profile, and you're going to make sure that you are keeping it up to date with current information. You're going to make sure that you are using the most high quality photos of your restaurant and your services and your food that you can, and those are going to be highlighted on your website, and they're going to be highlighted also on your profile on Yelp and other sites. With all of these elements that you are putting together online, you want to make sure also that this information gets found. So you created a website, or you have a website and you've just improved it, made it very visual. You want to make sure that that website is going to be searchable and that people are going to be able to find it, because online we are competing with a lot of information and there are a lot of businesses online. So you want to make sure that you make it as easy as possible for your current customers and for potential new patrons to your restaurant to access your information online. So you want to do everything possible to make it easy for your customers online. And just a quick statistics here, 77% of all searches conducted online are conducted on Google. So if you have limited time to be able to dedicate to your online or digital marketing work, if this is something that you are starting with, and maybe you will have to delegate to somebody that has a couple of other responsibilities, or you're not going to be able to dedicate full amount of time. If there is one area where I would suggest that you would start is with a Google My Business profile. Creating a Google My Business profile is also free, and it's something that you would do. You create it with by signing in with a Gmail account, and you will create a profile for your restaurant on the Google My Business account, where you can upload photographs, where you can create information that will then be searchable through Google search, and where you can input your location and the services that you offer, whether it's delivery, pickup, takeout, etc., so that that information can also be searchable on Google Maps. The ability to have your restaurant and your restaurant website connected to Google searches and Google Maps will definitely generate more traffic to your site. It's definitely a value add, and especially with people searching on their mobile phone when they're already out of the house looking for a place to eat, just having that possibility of your restaurant being highlighted in Google Maps and identified will definitely generate more traffic for you. So it could be very valuable in your overall digital marketing strategy. A little bit of a summary, and I know it was a little quick there with the different services that you have available. There are a lot of services that you have available to support your effort online. You need to decide whether you are starting completely from scratch and you are creating a whole digital presence, and then there's a certain pathway that you want to follow for that. Obviously, my recommendation would be that you would want to start with a website and then start taking control of all the different assets and accounts that are created for your restaurant in review sites, or start creating them on the social media platforms as well. But you want to make sure that you have that digital home, that you have that website that is mobile friendly and that has accurate and up-to-date information. You want to make it very visual. I cannot overemphasize the importance of having really good photographs to highlight the mood, the ambience of your restaurant, to showcase your favorite dishes or your popular drinks and things like that, and the atmosphere. You want to make sure that once you have that website, you are leveraging the power that search engines and that map has, so that your business can be found, and that can easily be done by creating that Google My Business profile and connecting your website and everything else to it. You want to make sure that you're harnessing the power of online reviews, and one of the things that you can do, as we explained already, is for you to, if you haven't done so, claim your Yelp profile, and if there is not a Yelp profile existing for your restaurant yet, you can create it yourself. And once you have those different things working together in your digital strategy, then you have the empowered tools and all the other trainings available for you to improve on that process. So just something that I want to for us to keep in mind. Now I want to open it up for questions. If anybody has any questions or would like for us to clarify or to go deeper in anything that we have discussed today, feel free to either put it on the chat, or if you want, you can unmute yourself and you can ask the questions directly. No questions? Okay. If we don't have any questions for today's session, just a reminder, we are recording this session, so it will be shared again. So you will hear from the team at the National Trust for Historic Preservation, and they will share the link to this recorded session in the next couple of days. And just a reminder that on August 24th, so 2 weeks from today, we have our third and last module, which is called Creative Strategies to Stand Out in a Crowded Cyberspace. So we've talked initially about the importance of having a marketing plan and identifying that target market audience that you want to attract and connecting them with that unique value that your restaurant offers. We then discussed the importance of having the website, making the Google My Business profile so that you can make sure that your website and your business is easily searchable on Google search, and it can easily be found on Google Maps. We've talked about the importance of claiming or starting your Yelp profile. So in the next module, we are going to talk a little more on harnessing social media platforms and how storytelling and creating a story around your restaurant can really amplify your marketing message. And that becomes very, very important, and that becomes also very strong when you are able to recruit your customers to be part of that storytelling. And when you have those third voices, your customers, that are the ones that are, you know, creating that content online and promoting your restaurant. So that is going to be part of our third and last module. Again, thank you very much for attending today's session. My name is Gustavo, and I work with the National Main Street Center, and I will be joining you in the next session in 2 weeks. Thank you.